All right, just in. The latest on the Kirk shooting. Possible DNA has been found that links the actual alleged shooter to the crime. Prosecutions were moving forward to charge Mr. Robinson with this white on white shooting epidemic going across America. Let's look at it from ABC News Live.
New piece of evidence in the investigation into Charlie Kirk's killing. FBI Director Kash Patel said on Fox and Friends this morning they now have DNA placing the suspect at the scene. Now prosecutors say they hope to file charges by tomorrow as we learn more about the suspect. ABC's Jacqueline Lee is on the scene in Orem, Utah. Jacqueline, what's the latest on this new piece of evidence?
Diane, so the FBI Director Kash Patel, he said there were several pieces of evidence they found, DNA evidence that they say was directly linked to the suspect. So he said on the roof where they believe the shot took place, they discovered a screwdriver that had the suspect's DNA evidence on it. And they also say on the towel that was wrapped around the rifle that was discovered in the woods, they say that also matched the DNA of the suspect. Kash Patel also saying they discovered a note they believe was written before the shooting. They say it was partially destroyed, but that is something else they're going to be looking into. So these are additional pieces of evidence that the Utah County Attorney does have to review before they can file charges. The attorney is saying they do plan on filing those charges tomorrow, but just given the volume of evidence they have to sort through, that could be pushed a few days to Friday. Diane.
And Jacqueline, classes are expected to resume at Utah Valley University this week. What are you hearing from students?
So today, employees are set to return here to the university. Students are supposed to return on Wednesday. And the thing is, the shooting was so violent, Diane, and there were more than 3,000 people in attendance at the event. So students we spoke with that came to visit the memorial and pay their respects to Charlie Kirk, many of them said they do not want to return because of how traumatized they are. And, Charlie Kirk, yes, he was a controversial figure, but he did appeal to many students because he traveled the country going to different college campuses to debate people of other viewpoints. So it will be very difficult for these students to return, but eventually it does have to happen. Diane.
All right, Jacqueline Lee, thank you. Let's bring in ABC contributor, former FBI agent Brad Garrett, and ABC legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer for more. Hi to you both. So, Brad, how big of a break is this kind of DNA evidence for investigators?
Oh, it's huge because the key, obviously, Diane, is linking this suspect to committing the crime. In other words, can you put him at the crime scene? I mean, you have video of him coming off the roof. He even talks about, I think at some point, sending someone back to pick up the weapon. And so all of that goes to placing the weapon in his hands, him committing this act. And that tied with everything else that we've talked about that's out there is that it's a very, very strong case for the prosecution from my perspective.
Brian, what are you watching for as prosecutors prepare to file charges against the suspect tomorrow?
So actually it's a lot of little things, right? It's the motive, which probably I shouldn't categorize as a little thing, but how he obtained the firearm and also how he tried to dispose it. Because as Brad pointed out, we do hear that there was some communication as to how to just get rid of the gun or someone to get it elsewhere. In terms of motive, which is probably a larger one, that I'm looking for because I know the charges that the state is most likely going to raise, aggravated murder. As Jacqueline said, there were over 3,000 people in attendance. That's an aggravated factor in Utah that could lead to the death penalty. But I suspect that the federal government is also racing to press charges as well. And there you have to find more of a federal nexus. So I'm interested to see how they get there.
Brad, FBI Co-Deputy Director Dan Bongino was on Fox News shortly after Director Patel, and he said it appears the shooting was communicated to someone else. What does that part of the investigation look like?
Well, someone else, is that online? I'm going to guess it's online. Can you actually identify the other person that got this alleged message? I mean, clearly.
Yeah, they kind of glossed over what he's talking about some communications that was going on right there. You got to watch these people.
And that would be an important piece of information if this alleged shooter made comments about that he was going to go harm Charlie. Then again, it's another piece of evidence. It shows sort of his predisposition to go commit this act. And that's going to add to potentially what both the state and the feds will ultimately charge him with.
And Brian, if someone else knew about this shooting beforehand and failed to alert authorities, again, could we see someone else face charges here too?
So as you pose the question, the answer would be no, because mere knowledge of another individual either committing a crime, committing a crime, or is about to, is not enough to prosecute a person. If you knew about it and you gave substantial steps, so for the example, whoever the shooter communicated with in terms of trying to pick up that firearm, if they then took substantial steps, maybe not even actually picking up the firearm because law enforcement got it, but they attempted to do so, then yes, that person could be charged with a crime. But you have to do more than just simply be aware or know of it. You have to take steps, and that's when you get into the world of conspiracy to either commit the crime or cover it up.
Got it. All right. And we'll be, of course, just following what investigators say more about that. Brad Garrett, Brian Buck.
Yeah, man, they got him, like they said. You know, family had a lot to do with that, and it is what it is, man. I'm trying to get my hair like old boys. You heard? I need to swish on it. You heard? Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Thank you for coming through.